Richard Christy, Chart Walls of the Damned / Howard Stern Show. Who's your metal gods that just fired you up to be the metal fan that you are now?
Well, definitely Van Halen. When I heard Hot for Teacher, that was the song that made me want to play drums. I heard it in 1984 when the album 1984 came out, and I was just blown away by the intro for Hot for Teacher. And to this day, I still don't know exactly how Alex Van Halen plays that. It's such a complex and crazy intro that I still admire it, and that was really the thing that inspired me to start playing drums when I was 10 years old. So yeah, definitely Van Halen, Quiet Riot, and Twisted Sister. When I was 10 years old, I first heard them and was really into the Metal Health and Stay Hungry album. I still love those albums. I heard Iron Maiden, Power Slave when I was around 10 years old, and I'm still a huge Iron Maiden fan. I just saw them at the Madison Square Garden in New York City, and they were incredible. And let's see, Wrathchild America, they're a thrash band from the late 80s, early 90s that I really admire. Their drummer, Shannon Larkin, is a huge influence on my drumming, and he's in the band Godsmack now. We've actually become friends. We bonded over horror movies. I met him at a few shows, and he's really into horror movies like me. So we always text message each other about new horror movies and stuff. So definitely Wrathchild America. Some of the newer bands that I love are Coheed and Cambria from upstate New York. I'm a huge fan of theirs, and they actually let me introduce them at one of their shows at Madison Square Garden last year, which was really a thrill and a dream come true to be on stage at Madison Square Garden. So definitely them, and the band Amon Amarth from also on Metal Blade Records, which I'm very psyched to be on the same label as them because I'm a huge fan of theirs, and also the band King Diamond. I've been a big fan of the singer King Diamond since I was about 12 years old, and he's also on Metal Blade Records. So I definitely have some good company, and it's an honor to be working with Brian Slagle and everybody at Metal Blade Records. They're such great people and just true metal fans and very supportive, and I'm very lucky to be able to do this album and very excited for people to hear it.
Absolutely. Now, you know Van Halen's working on a new album.
See, I've heard different things that maybe they were and maybe they weren't, but I'm definitely curious to hear it. I saw them live. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but they were great. But I did miss seeing Michael Anthony up there. I think Michael Anthony's backup vocals are such a massive part of Van Halen that I really missed that and felt bad that he wasn't up there. But it's cool that him and Sammy Hagar are jamming now. I'd love to see them two together. So,
well, you know, I've heard through the grapevine that on this project, Michael Anthony is coming back. I hope that's true. And
I hope so, too. I mean, it's got to be a difficult decision because, on the other hand, seeing Wolfgang play bass with Van Halen and seeing how happy Eddie was that Wolfgang was up on stage with him, that was really, I really liked that. I thought that was really neat, you know, a father and a son on stage in Madison Square Garden. That was really cool. So hopefully they can figure out a way where maybe they'll have two bass players, you know, like Ned's Atomic Dustbin from the 90s. They had like two or three bass players. So they can have a new sound and just have two bass players.
Well, my hopes for the new CD when it comes out is that they throw back a bit to the early Van Halen. No bass with 51.
So. I would think that they would. I think there were two new songs that they did in 1996 with David Lee Roth for a Best Of album, and it was when David Lee Roth came back for a short time, and I remember those songs being really good. I haven't heard them since that I can recall, but I remember hearing them and thinking, wow, that sounds like the old stuff. It sounds really cool. So, I would hope so. I would imagine that, that's what the fans want to hear for sure.
I hope that's where they go with it. One of those songs was called Me Wise Magic, and I don't know what he's talking about.
That was, yeah, now that you mention it, that's definitely one of them that I heard. And I remember that being that's a great song,
It is.
right? I remember it being good.
The thing that stuck out with me about it was I don't know that it was so much old Van Halen that I would like to hear a more raw guitar from Eddie that made him great, but it was not 5150. Everything since 5150 it's been it sounds like 5150, and no beef with that, but I would like the old raw stuff back, and it was a little more raw with David Lee Roth on that Me Wise Magic song, and so maybe that's the sign of things to come with it. But
yeah, well, let's hope so. I would love to go see them live again. I mean, every song they play live is amazing, and they're all hits, and it's just such a fun thing to watch them live. I mean, they're the ultimate party band, so that's definitely a fun concert to go see.
Absolutely. And real quick, and I'm gonna let you go. Kiss's new CD, it's phenomenal. It's a great CD. Have you heard Sonic Boom?
I have, and I like it. It's really good. I agree. But you know what I actually like a little bit better is Ace Frehley's solo album.
Mm-hmm. I've sampled some.
I think his new solo album's really good.
That's what they're saying. They're saying that it's a surprisingly very, it's getting some critical acclaim. I know that. And I really haven't listened to it. I can't really say as I have. We're getting ready to review it, and I've reached out for an interview with Ace, but we haven't heard back. But
it's good to see them all still going. They've been at it for a while, and Paul Stanley's in better shape than I am, and he's like 50-some years old, so he's doing something right.
Absolutely. I was very, very, very pleased that it sounded like 70s Kiss and not 2000 Kiss or whatever.
Not Hot in the Shade Kiss?
No, this was Destroyer Kiss. This was Rock and Roll Over Kiss. I just interviewed the guy who did the Destroyer album cover. He painted it. He lives in Long Island. His name's Ken Kelly. It's on the site right now, but very cool to talk to him. He did the Destroyer artwork. And
that's a classic.
He was supposed to they were trying to work out a deal where he was going to paint another album cover for him for this album, but it fell through. So, it was cool to talk to him, hear the backstory behind Destroyer. I'm a big Kiss fan.
That's such an iconic album cover.
Absolutely.
And now, is that the album where they had the picture on the Empire State Building?
That's the time period. I don't know if it was in the album. The album cover, of course, the city and roads and all this.
Definitely.
I told him that, gosh, it has been everywhere, that picture. And of course he knows it. He says it's the most commercialized artwork probably ever.
I go to Spencer's Gifts, and I think that's where I've seen it. They have, Destroyer mugs and hats and keychains, everything.
Heck, I almost bought a bowling ball last year with it on it, for God's sake. So.
See, that is cool. That's something I didn't know was out there, and that does sound pretty cool.
It's they don't make it anymore, but it's out there. You can find it. It's like $100. It's cheap, really, considering. But
wow.
Oh well.